Good evening and welcome to another episode of Carmentary. I'm in my car driving home. I have about a 3-hour drive, maybe a little less if it's smooth. This is a road from the ski town Furano, cuts all the way across a series of mountains and pops out on the highway, and then I can get back home to Sapporo. It's a notoriously icy, windy road. It's late at night. It is very icy. And there is no cell phone reception for most of this road. It has always been that way. It continues to be that way. Let me check. Yeah, 0. Dead. No cell phone reception out here. It's kind of a scary road, actually. Like, if something happened out here, you're kind of screwed until someone comes along and gives you a ride somewhere. So I thought I'd record a little random commentary with some information, some rants, etc. Let me show you my dinner. I just had a tortilla, a bacon cheese tortilla, and I had some chicken nuggets. Not the healthiest option, but I wanted a little protein, so I went with the nuggets. Just throw that down there. I just throw everything on the floor and then I clean my car up when I get home. I have oh, there's my garbage bag, my garbage box. The tortilla, to be honest with you, even after 30 years here, I'm such an idiot. I'm from California. I ate a lot of tortillas and burritos growing up, and I love Mexican food. It's good stuff. And just seeing the word tortilla, I just get like that nostalgic flashback going, oh yeah, I want to eat a burrito, I want to eat a quesadilla. And I just grab it and I buy it, and then you stick it in that nuclear oven and you heat it up and you open it, you take a bite, and then you're like, oh, it's not a real burrito. Oh man, of course I knew that, and I still bought the damn thing. I've had like thousands of them, and I just, every time I always forget that it's not like a real burrito. It's a very adjusted version. I don't know, maybe I don't know if it's the cheese or what it is. The tortilla is pretty good. The tortilla is like, it's a pretty honest tortilla. Anyway, today I went to Kamui ski. Oh, sorry. Before I get into that, let's just talk about Japan right now. It is January the 3rd. We're only 3 days into the new year, and it has been incredibly rough and rugged start for Japan. Okay, sorry. My video just cut off, and I had to restart it there. So, very rough and rugged start for Japan. January the 1st, New Year's Day. I think it was like around 2 or something. Big earthquake, 7.6 on the Richter scale, off the coast of Ishikawa Prefecture. I've been there. It's a beautiful area. Toyama also. For those of you who are not familiar, you may know Hakuba in Nagano. It's kind of a famous mountainous area with a lot of ski resorts. Right on the other side of those mountains, on the western side of those mountains, you have a prefecture called Toyama. And then just below that is Ishikawa Prefecture. Incredible seafood, a lot of classic Japanese traditional art and craftspeople, like those beautiful bowls that they make with the lacquer bowls. All of that stuff is in that area. There's a peninsula called the Noto Hanto Peninsula. Beautiful area, but pretty remote, you know, kind of like what we call inaka. Very countryside. That area got hit by this big quake, and I didn't know about it until the evening, to be honest with you. We didn't feel anything up here, at least from what I've heard. But a lot of the mainland, the whole coastal area got, you know, tsunami, tidal wave warnings. It was huge. A lot of damage, and I haven't got the latest numbers, but at least there was 120 people dead at the last time I checked. So this is a very major natural disaster. for Japan. The biggest one since 2011, which was on the other side of the country, and we had the Fukushima nuclear reactor meltdown. We had major damage that killed like 35,000 people or more, mainly because of the tidal wave. The tsunami was, you know, incredibly deadly. So this time there was no really big tsunami, which is a blessing, but a lot of fire, a lot of damage. It's still all kind of coming out now. Everything was closed off for that whole day because of the tsunami warnings. People couldn't get in. They were doing helicopter flyovers to kind of see the damage. And I mean, this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare for Japan. Not only, you know, a big natural disaster, but it's on January the 1st. January the 1st in Japan, and I guess in any country, you know, pretty much everybody's going to be on holiday. In Japan, it's traditional for people to go back to their family homes. A lot of people, you know, obviously Tokyo, Osaka, the big cities is where the population is. A huge percentage of those people have moved there from countryside towns. So on these holidays, they will go back, they'll take their children with them to visit the grandparents, etc. So I'm imagining that on that day in that area, there were a large number of people there who would not normally be there. It's a day, it really is a day to go visit the grandparents. Everybody eats mochi, the little rice cakes. You might go and visit the cemetery to pay your respects to your deceased relatives. You know, all that kind of stuff happens. And also people going to the shrines to get their little fortunes for the year, say a prayer, etc. Big day, big family day in Japan. And boom, big earthquake, damage, massive fires, loss of life. Like, I don't know, I think it's going to take like a week or more to get the full report on the extent of the damage and you know, how many people have lost their lives there. So very shocking news. So everybody's kind of going, whoa, you know, like reeling from that. And then yesterday on the 2nd, in the evening, suddenly we start getting messages and see stuff on social media that the Haneda airport in Tokyo has been shut down because of some kind of an accident. Turn on YouTube and immediately find out that a plane that was landing hit another small Coast Guard plane that was on the runway. Now again, maybe today if I watch the news there'd be some more technical details on what really happened, but what it sounds like is this JAL plane was coming into land, a small Coast Guard plane came out, or either was given the okay to go but it shouldn't have, or they heard the order wrong or something. Anyway, the plane came out like it was going to take off, and the plane landing hit it. There's video of this plane like landing and coming into a stop on fire. Engine on the wing destroyed, like fire, big fire. Thankfully, everyone was able to get out of the plane. This is like a miracle. We were like, my wife, who was a 10-year veteran of being a stewardess, she was kind of like in shock almost watching the video, you know. She was probably having flashbacks. She knows exactly what all that stuff is like. Not that she ever was in an accident. But everybody, 318 people, something like that, all got out of the plane. But I think like 3 or more people on the small Coast Guard plane were killed. So, sad news there. But good news that everyone was able to get out of the passenger plane. It could have been far worse. When you see the video of the plane on fire, you're like, no way. Like, people definitely died in that thing. But they didn't. So that was good. But you had this massive plane burning, engulfed in flames. They had fire trucks come out to try and put it out, and they didn't put shit out, man. Like, the video had the entire plane engulfed in flames. Like, what is the point of 60 fire engines if you can't put out that fire? Like, that, someone needs to ask that question. Today, someone I know, a photographer who was leaving Japan, posted a photo on Instagram out the window of a plane, his plane, and you could see the burnt carcass of this jumbo jet on the side of the tarmac with the city of Tokyo in the background. Like, crazy photo. Like, wow. Never would you think to see that. Especially in Japan, where everything just sort of runs on time, everything works good, people are super detailed and conscientious about their jobs, and you just, like, that stuff just works like clockwork, like smooth like butter. And here we have a plane. Turns out the Coast Guard plane was filled with emergency supplies and was gonna fly to the site of the earthquake. So it was like a double whammy. Here you got people who are going on a rescue, mission, and there's an accident, people get killed. It's like, oh man, you know. Then today, I talked to someone I know, skier, snowboarder, who had just flown up on the 1st of January, just like an hour before that accident at the airport. They left Tokyo. They came up, they went for their first ski day in Furano. And they were there just about to get on the gondola, and the whole thing got shut down and they got booted out. They couldn't ski. This was not on the news because it's a minor thing, but turns out the restaurant at the top of the hill caught on fire. So it's like, what's going on here, man? Everything's coming apart at the seams. We got mega earthquakes. We got, accidents, major accidents happening. We got restaurants burning down at ski resorts. And today, at Kamui Ski Links, the resort that I went to go riding and filming at, great little resort, I'll tell you about it in a minute. While we're there, they had some problem. Again, this is a much smaller problem. Their water pumps stopped working and all the toilets shut down. And they were running announcements like, oh, you can't use the toilets, we're sorry. And they're trying to figure this out. Meanwhile, the gondola breaks down. And the gondola is just hanging there with people sitting in it for quite a while. And I'm like, oh man, like, are we jinxed? Anyway, so there's big things going on, there's small problems, there's all kinds of stuff happening. I'm sure it's not just Japan. I'm sure this is like, shit happens everywhere. But let's just say it's been a rough couple of days here. I hope it starts to turn around. So now, on a more positive note, I will just give you a quick report on my day. Some interesting stuff. So, the Kamui Ski Links Resort is a small resort. It used to be a family-run place. It is now run by a DMO that was put together by the city of Asahikawa. It's just within the Asahikawa city limits. 3,800 yen for the full day pass. That is a bargain, folks. It's a pretty darn big mountain. There's quite a bit of ungroomed runs. There's some really, if you're a skier, you're gonna love it. It's steep. There's a course called the Gold Course, I think. And it's this big, wide course, like really wide course, but really steep. Like you can lay down some carbs on that thing. There's some good tree runs. There's a gondola. It's a small gondola. It's a 4-person gondola, but it's like tiny. I felt like I was on a Disneyland ride or something. It's like you should be riding with your kids singing "It's a Small World" or something. It's cute, but it works. It gets you to the top of the mountain. It's pretty long. There's a restaurant at the top that serves some pastas and some pizzas. Beautiful snow. And the grooming condition is excellent. They really groom it nicely. There's a lot of these kind of rollers built into the courses, which are really fun. All in all, great mountain. They have, they're one of only 2 ski resorts in Japan that has this machine, like an automatic ticket machine, where you can just walk up, you can buy your lift ticket with credit card, cashless, or cash. I think they're the only one in Japan that has the machine that takes cash, but it also takes credit card. It's multilingual, so you go up, you just like press the globe, English. Man, I bought my lift ticket in like 30 seconds. It was quick and painless and much faster than standing in line. There are not a lot of people there, but I go there about once a year, and this time I felt there were a lot of what we call inbound or foreign ski and snowboard tourists, mostly Asian, a few Caucasian people walking around. So that was the scene at Kamui Ski Links. Highly recommended experience, and what a bargain! 3,800 yen. I mean, that's like 23 bucks or something in US dollars right now. Pretty cheap. Next, I drove over to through Asahikawa to BA and then down to Furano. I'm on a little bit of a filming mission. I had some stuff to do, and I stopped by Furano area and had a little look-see and did a little filming. Quite a few tourists, and Furano has definitely grown up a bit. I have not been there recently. I think there were some newly opened hotels. The Phoenix. Is there one? Is it the Vale? Furano? Anyway, there's a bunch of hotel brands that you would recognize from the Niseko area now on the main street leading down from the Furano Resort. It is still very small compared to Niseko. Let's put it that way. But it has grown a lot, and you can see the potential for it to grow more. There's still a good mix of kind of the classic Japanese bubble economy era B&B lodges, sort of more classic European design architecture, buildings from around 35 to 40 years ago, intermixed with these new modern creations, probably made by some Italian architect. I don't know who makes these things. You have a rhythm store in the first floor of the Phoenix Hotel I saw, right across from the resort. There was a little, there was a burger shop in like this little container, all glass, looked really kind of cool. And I was like, oh man, great. After I do my thing, I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna grab, they had like a Korean style yakiniku burger, a couple of different menus. It looked really good. And I came down and it just closed at 8 p.m. Like just closed, it was like 1 minute late. I'm like, man. But that was like the only kind of, I don't know if I'd call that street food, because it was like a nice little prefab building, but it was like this little container on the street. And that was like the only one I saw. There were not a lot of like street food vendors. There were not a lot of people walking around at 8 p.m. It was pretty quiet. It kind of feels like there's not so much action outside, so you got to go get your food, maybe make a reservation, and then you're back to the hotel. So I went to Lawson, as you saw, and I bought my fake tortilla and my chicken nuggets and my espresso latte for the drive home. And the only kind of like exciting thing in the convenience store, and I found this both in Niseko And I guess now in Furano, the convenience stores, I went to Lawson, but in Niseko you have Seiko Mart and Lawson. They all stock a lot of things that you would never normally find in those same convenience stores in other parts of the island. They stock stuff that Caucasian people want, predominantly. It's in the back. They had a frozen pepperoni pizza that looked really good. It was like about this big, and it's a Japanese company called Seijo Ishii. They have a series of like supermarkets down in the Tokyo main island area. They do some really nice products, and I'm like, oh man, nice little. They had a margarita and they had a salami. I got the salami to take home as a little gift. Thought I'd eat that when I get home. They had Captain Morgan's rum. They had, what else I see? There was a whole bunch of things that you would never see in a normal convenience store. So that is kind of fun and cool. I guess it's nice for the visiting people who want something that they're familiar with. You know, I think everybody likes to eat a rice ball. And the first couple days you're like trying all this different fishy stuff, and then you're like, ah, shit, I don't want to eat more fish. I want a pizza or a McDonald's burger. And so they supply that. I don't think they're doing the same thing for the Asian customers. I don't really see like Thai food or, you know, Indonesian food or any product like that. I think for them, they're just like, hey, just eat the we're all Asian, just eat the Japanese stuff. I think that's kind of the mood. In Niseko, I've seen like huge loaves of bread. They sell like whole wheat bread. You don't find that anywhere else in Japan, especially not in a convenience store. So that's cool. So that's my rundown on Furano. The locals talk, the vibe on the street for the true hardcore locals who've been snowboarding all over the island for, you know, 20-30 years. Basically, Furano's too crowded now. That's the word on the street. I think if you came here as a tourist and you went there, you would not be discouraged. You would be like, yeah, this is whatever it's going. In fact, it's not nearly as crowded as Niseko probably. But for the locals, the vibe is it's too crowded now. So people are going to places like Kamui Ski Links and other resorts, but obviously those places are also trying to capture the attention of the inbound crowd, because that's where the moolah is, man. Everybody wants that moolah. Bring your money. Everybody wants to cash in. All right, I think that's my rant for today. Kind of a random Carmentary, nothing really special, but yeah, rough times in the first couple days here of 2024. I'll keep you updated on Japan. Any big news that comes up, I try to avoid that stuff and stick with the snowboarding for the winter, but I think the events of the last couple days warranted a little rant. All right, thanks for listening, and yeah, drive safe.